Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Carly and this is the Planted Carly Flower. Definitely hit subscribe and give me a like on this video if you like my content, and I really hope that you do intend to stick around because I've got some great videos coming up for you guys. But today we are going to talk about my favorite low light plants in my collection. These are plants that I own, plants that I'm familiar with, and plants that I know can handle a little bit of a lesser light situation than others. So stick around and I hope that these will work for you as well.
I want to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I want. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time?
Okay guys, so let's get right into it. We all, let's face it, don't have the brightest light in every area of our house. So sometimes we need a plant that can take a little bit less light to fill up a spot that would look great with some beautiful foliage or maybe flowers. I'm more of a foliage girl. So let's go ahead and get right into the list. The first plant on my list is the Trebiai Moonlight. Guys, this plant is it. It's got that shimmery silver look that everybody is wanting in the trendier plants these days. The dark vein down the middle, the dark outer margins, the silver in the center. Oh, this plant is chef's kiss. I did get this plant from Coastal Farms. I did have it shipped in the winter, so what you're gonna see on this plant is a little bit of cold damage. Unfortunately, it did have some cold damage on it when I got it. Coastal Farms does not offer heat packs that I noticed, and it was a much fuller plant when I got it. I did divide it in half and I shared it with another local person. I went ahead and gave it away to her so she could also enjoy something a little bit more rare in our area. I couldn't find it in our area. I did order it online. So yeah, I did definitely shared it, and I water this plant when it is dry. I let it go ahead and thoroughly dry out. I give it a nice drink. You can tell the plant is thirsty because the leaves get soft and a little floppy, and that's when I go ahead and I soak it completely through. It is in my own soil mix now. I will list my soil mix in the cards up above if you're interested in watching that video. But yeah, it is a great plant. It sits, oh gosh, far, about 15 feet, maybe even 20 feet away, probably more like 20 feet away from a southern window, and a good 10 feet from an eastern window. So it is in a little bit of a lower light situation, but it does really, really well. It is a bit of a slow grower, but that is something you can expect with a low light situation. You're gonna get a little bit of a slower growth out of it, but it's still thriving, it's still doing really well, and it's still absolutely beautiful to look at. Okay guys, the next plant on my list is recently a reclassified plant. It used to go by Sansevieria. Now I believe they've been reclassified to Dracaenas, which has been super hard for me to get used to. But Sansevierias, snake plants, well, this is a bird's nest. They do really well in lower light situations, but they are absolutely gorgeous. I got this from a local nursery here in town called Plant Me Out Later, Albuquerque, and a little sneak peek for you guys. I'm going to be doing a tour of their nursery very soon. So stick around, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. But this plant is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. The markings on this plant, the edges are bright gold. Again, this is a Dracaena. Now it is a Dracaena bird's nest, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to go ahead and I treat this thing almost like cactus. I water it when it's bone dry and when the leaves start to get a little soft. It doesn't get water very often. In the winter, I almost never watered it. But now in the summer, now that it's a little bit warmer in my room and it is getting a little bit more light than it was, it does get watered about every 2 weeks. I will soak it completely through, and it seems to do just fine with that. Again, listen to your plant, feel the leaves. When they feel a little soft and bendy, you can go ahead and give it a thorough drink. But yeah, these things are a lot of fun. It looks like I'm getting a little pup down here in the bottom corner, which is so fun. These things do pup, and then you can separate them and propagate that way. And it is just, the markings are gorgeous, you guys. Check that out. It's beautiful. The bird's nest is one of my favorite Dracaenas. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I highly recommend it. Eventually these things can get up to 3-4 feet tall, even taller if they live long enough, and they are a great floor plant when they reach that length and height, and they're just a lot of fun, so I highly recommend it. Okay guys, the next plant more like genus, I guess. So there's various things that kind of fall under this title, but is a Calathea of any type, really. This is a rattlesnake, or a lancifolia Calathea, and they do really well in lower light. Calatheas, Marantas, and Stromanthes tend to do pretty well with lower light, and they're all kind of like the same type of care and same kind of plant, really, but just different geniuses, obviously. But I have my rattlesnake here, and these guys don't mind low light. They thrive, they grow, they're doing really well. I recently moved this one to pond. I will link my video for how to transfer Calatheas to pond in the cards up above, but absolutely a stunner, you guys. It's really nice. It fills up a room. It does give a nice pop of color. The undersides of these leaves are nice and purple-y red, and they're really gorgeous. They come out bright and shiny. Like I said, keep the soil nice and moist. I highly recommend transferring Maranthas, Calatheas, and Stromanthes into pond or leca. They do very, very well, and they get to drink up as much moisture as they want to without you having to constantly check on them and water them. Plus, it creates a nice little humid atmosphere around the plant, which can help with some of that general crisping these plants tend to get. The next one on my list is the Marble Queen Pothos, or really any pothos or trailing philodendron variety. Guys, this plant is so beautiful. It's got the best markings. The more light you do give it, the better the markings will flourish, but it does perfectly well in low light. It grows like a weed. This plant I do let dry out completely in between waterings, and it does just fine with that. You will notice that the plant gets a little droopy and looks just a little lackluster, and that's when you can go ahead and lift the pot, make sure it's light, and then go ahead and give it a nice thorough drink, and it'll perk right up within a couple hours. They definitely are very forgiving plants, very easy for a beginner. I highly recommend it if you are a beginner to plants, and it can pretty much flourish in any light condition you give it, as long as it does have some light, of course. Keep in mind, when I say low light, I don't mean no light. It does have to get at least some ambient light to live, because it's a plant and they require sun, or at least a grow light. But this plant is about 20 feet away, maybe even 25 feet away from a southern window, and it is absolutely doing just fine. Highly recommend. A great beginner plant for a low light situation. Okay guys, and the last plant on my list that can definitely tolerate some lower light are Peperomias. I do not have the best track record of Peperomias. I will admit that straight off the bat. But I do have a frost peperomia that I have been keeping alive for quite some time. It's a bit of a mystery to me as to how, when every peperomia in my care just dies almost immediately. It's like they see my house and they just... So, you know, but this one is hanging on, and the only different thing I have done is I have given it less light. I think maybe I was just giving my peperomias like way too much light, and they were just bleaching out and looking really poor, and then they were needing watering even more because I was putting them in some high light, and they were just trying to keep up with the conditions I was giving it, and I wasn't watering it enough to allow it to keep up with those conditions. This peperomia is against a eastern wall where the window is off to the side of it, so it doesn't get any direct light. It barely gets indirect light, and it is flowering, and it is growing leaves out the pot like crazy, and it's just doing overall very well. I'm very pleased with it. It's looking really good and lush, and I highly recommend it. It does have, like I said, the frosty leaves, which are great. I wait till the pot is super light or my water meter reads dry, and I give it a nice drink. But since it's getting so little light, it is absolutely needing a drink, much less than I was watering my other peperomias. And it's doing really well. So I guess I have this one pretty nailed down. I'm finally at a point where I feel like I understand this plant, and I think the lower light for me was the key. It's not getting the bright, intense light I was giving my other peperomias, and therefore is just looking so much healthier and growing so much better for me. It's also staying moister for longer, which I think is what it's really loving as well. So definitely, if you have a plant that just doesn't do well for you, you know, try again. Practice makes perfect. Change up what you're doing. Eventually, you're gonna find that symbiotic relationship that you're looking for with a plant. I did, and I had thought I would never be able to keep a peperomia alive, but I really do feel that the lower light was key for me in keeping this alive. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me for my favorite low light plants. I hope that you found something that you can stick in a low light corner and have thrive for you and fill out some of that empty space in your home. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. I really appreciate you making it this far. Even just an emoji, anything to show me that you were here would really mean a lot to me. I do have my links in the bottom description. My link tree is down there. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I think I'm going to put my Pinterest on there. I also do have my Amazon storefront on there. So if you are looking for any of the pots or anything that I had in this video, or any care items, definitely check that out because they are all listed for you. I spent a lot of time getting everything I used on there, but if I'm missing something, definitely let me know and I'll add it for you. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns in the comments, and I hope you get to spend lots of quality time with your plants today. Thank you so much for sticking around, guys.